This is not your traditional video. I'm not going through a case study. I'm not talking about Roth conversions. I'm not talking about harvesting. I'm not talking about life insurance or asset allocation. I'm telling you two important stories that might really shift your retirement. And this was prompted by a comment. So if you look at my screen here, you'll see this comment was left by Jesse Potter 365, who says, I love this about your channel. Everyone is worried about not having enough and they don't think about what they want to do in retirement. We'll retire as soon as it makes sense to do so. That comment was left on a story I told when I have a couple that I'm going to explain to you now. She's single actually. And she said she was upset that she had $3 million. And so I posted a video saying, here's why you don't need $3 million to retire. So I'm going to walk you through two stories that might really shift the way you think about retirement in a positive light. I always want to keep these videos fun, informational, educational, but I do want you to have a takeaway. I want there to be an action item. So I don't want it to feel like homework, but I want you to go, yeah, I'm going to think differently. Maybe I should not work just for that next bonus. Or you know what? It really makes sense because I want to do a home remodel. So it makes sense to do that. So I'm going to give you a few ideas today that hopefully really help you. If you don't already know, my name is Taublieb. I'm a certified financial planner. I'm the host of the Early Retirement Podcast, and I'm the vice president at Root Financial Partners. If you're looking for more strategies around tax planning, withdrawal, healthcare, insurance, estate, you're in the right spot, and I invite you to subscribe. If those topics sound terrible to you and you want no guidance on optimizing your financial situation, do not subscribe. You will not like me and you won't like my videos. Now, I love this stuff. That's why I believe I'm good at it. I'm not some fancy whiz kid from Harvard. I love this stuff. And it's because my parents were burned by 4 advisors, which is not why I love this, but I saw the value of good planning when they finally had a good advisor, and I saw the risk from having poor advisors. And so the first story I'm going to tell you, this is a health story. And this woman came to me upset that she had $3 million. And I said, listen, lady, I didn't say it like that, but I said, listen, I just don't hear that every day. Like, why are you so mad that you have $3 million? I know lots of people that would love to have $3 million. And if you're really mad, you can send the money. I've got some clients to be happy to take it. And she's like, hey, cut it with the jokes. I go, okay, sorry, what's going on? She said, I just am really upset. I just don't think I needed $3 million. And she's like kind of looking down when she talks. And I go, hey, what's going on? And she said, well, I've got sciatica. And sciatica, for those who don't know, it's like a really uncomfortable thing in like the side of your leg that really is in constant discomfort throughout the day. And so I said, hey, well, how does that connect to the 3 million? And she said, I want to travel in retirement. I want to hike. That's what I want to spend my time doing. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that to this degree. And we talked about it. I said, you're right. It doesn't sound like that's happening to the degree you'd like. What's going on? And she said, well, I don't want to spend $15,000 a month or $10,000 a month, like some of your examples. I would love to have between $6,000 to $7,000 a month. And I think I have the capacity to do that. And now I'm thinking I had the actual means to do that way earlier, meaning I don't think I needed $3 million. I feel like with $2 million, I could have done it. So we were talking just on the financial side, and then we're going to bring it back to the health. And I said, look, if you wanted $72,000 a year or $6,000 a month off a $2 million portfolio, that's a 3.5% withdrawal rate. That is certainly sustainable. And she's like, I know, maybe I didn't need $3 million. And I said, what if I came to you and said you could retire right now and never run the risk of running out of money ever? She'd go, well, that would sound nice, but I just don't know. And I said, you know why that's an interesting question? Because I'm awesome. No, that's not what I said. I said, you know why it's an interesting question? Because right now, you're not fully confident that you're in a spot to retire, and at the same time, you're worried because you have too much money. Do you see how that's interesting? And she's like, I kind of see it. And I said, I don't know if there's something I could say that would give you the confidence, because you're wondering, well, what if all of a sudden politics go crazy again and markets don't do well and all of a sudden healthcare costs go up or you live longer than you think? This person doesn't have a partner. They don't have a spouse. So they're like, hey, it's kind of all up to me. I don't have someone to here support me, and they have a family member, but they're far away and they took a job that they didn't really love, but it paid a lot of money. And so the last 3-4 years she's been sitting, just like I'm sitting right here. And now I'm like sitting up straight because I'm thinking about her. And she's been sitting, and she now doesn't think she's going to be able to travel to the degree she'd like, but still isn't able to retire. And so I'm like, hey, I must not be doing my job well, because this person has $3 million. They want to take $72,000 a year out and do everything they want to do. They are in a more than a comfortable position. I need to find a way for this to resonate. So we spent a lot of time going through withdrawal rates and insurance and what if scenarios and planning and saying, hey, what if you're the most unlucky investor ever? Like, would you still be on track? And I showed her this, and this is what really clicked for her. I said, hey, what if you just get really unlucky and markets drop by 30, 40% and Social Security is reduced? I think that's unrealistic by 50%, but you know what? You told me you'd be more comfortable. Let's plan on it. What if inflation is higher than we think, or your returns don't do what you expect? Because I know Vanguard put out an article that really concerned you, that returns might not be 10% or 8% like it's been recently. Tax brackets go up and you live longer than you think, and healthcare goes up. And we did these different what if scenario planning, and she was like, wait, so if I'm like the most unlucky person ever to be on planet Earth, I'm not running out of money? I said, no. Now, if you decide you start wanting to spend $200,000 a year or $250,000 a year, well, yeah, like of course there's a variable that could lead you to running out of money, but you're being unnecessarily conservative, because what she wanted to do is she wanted to put all these levers up. What if markets drop by 100%? I go, then you'll have no more money. So like we have to, there's a balance to this, of course. And it's really easy for people to avoid change. They'll keep working because it's easier than stopping and going, really, what am I going to do? And her real concern, she said it was the travel, and that's what she wanted to do in retirement. I think she was still working in large part because she was thinking, what am I going to do when I'm not traveling? And I think that brought on a lot of anxiety when I asked that question, because the rest of the meeting wasn't that smooth. And I am not paid to simply be kind. I am paid to give transparent advice. I try to do it in a kind manner, but I get emotional about this too, because I'm a human, and I'll joke with my clients and say, look, you think this is for you. This is for me so I can sleep at night for you, because I want to make sure that you know you're not going to run out of money, but I also want to make sure that you don't go, I'm going to travel and then I'm going to volunteer. And then when you go volunteer, you go, this is kind of like another job. And then you're going to be at home sitting all day, just like you've been sitting at work. And she was like, kind of called me out on that. I go, look, sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right, but I don't care either way. What I care is, are you on track to do what you want to do? So that's the first story, which is, what could she have done differently? If she saw a what if scenario like this, or if she considered going, hey, maybe I do have enough. I know it sounds weird because I'd love to have 3 million, but where's the logic behind that? I have someone that came to me and wanted to retire January 1st of 2027. And they were like, well, I started working in 1977 and it just sounds kind of like a nice shift. And maybe it was 87, but it was one of these years where they were like, it's a nice 40 years, like on the dot. And my dog was born on the 17th, and 17 is my favorite number. And yeah, like all these little weird things. And I said, hey, that's great. And it sounds good. That's not something that should dictate your retirement. And you're not going to, now, if you want to retire because you're finishing a project or your manager's retiring at the same time and you don't want to have a different manager, I get that. But using like kind of, you know what I'm talking about. Using terms or phrases that are, you're trying to find some way to go, that's when I'm going to retire. And then what happens is you push it back one more year because you go, the company, they still need me. It's not ready yet. Oh, actually, I was going to retire. I really was this time. But, something came up and it turns out I saw 12 shoelaces on the floor and that was a sign. So you guys aren't going to do that. But I've seen some weird situations because people don't want to retire because they're worried. Now, let's be clear. I don't want to retire ever. I love what I do. But if there's a day I don't love it, I want to make sure I have the means to possibly walk away and do something else. So that's the first story. The second story is a couple that came to me that was really excited to downsize. And you don't see that all the time. Normally people live in their home. They like their home. And then what happens eventually is they go, yeah, I just feel like it's too big for us. We need to move. We don't have 3 kids anymore. We're going to downsize. And this was a couple excited to downsize. Now, they were in Washington, which is where I went to college, for those who don't know. University of Puget Sound, only school that let me play college soccer there. So it's like, sign me up. They're like, what position are you? I'm like, I'll be right bench underneath the tent so I don't get rained on. No, I didn't say that. But what I was telling this couple when they were talking about downsizing, I said, hey, where do you want to be? They go, we want to be near our kids. I said, great. Where's that going to be? They're like, well, we don't really know, but it looks like they're based in Virginia. I said, cool. So we started talking about it. We were doing a bunch of planning, saying, hey, how much of a home could we buy? How close is it to their kids? Are they going to have to drive? Could they walk? All that good stuff. And then I said, hey guys, you shouldn't downsize. And they're like, what do you mean? We've been so excited and we've been talking about it for so long. I said, you should rent. They go, rent? I haven't rented in 20 years. I'm a homeowner. That's what I am. I said, you're not a homeowner. In the same way, you're not an insurance agent. You are a person. That's the job you do. You aren't that thing. It's an identity thing. If you have not seen that, read the Atomic Habits to understand that in more detail. In a retirement, a lot of identity crisis occurs. So with this couple, I said, you should rent. They said, look, I get that you think I should rent, but you just don't get me. I said, look, maybe I don't get you, but I'm telling you, financially, you should rent. They said, why? I said, because this whole time you've been telling me that your kid and their spouse doesn't know where they're going to end up. So you're going to go downsize and buy this home when they might move in 6 months. And they're like, huh. And I said, look, you know the logic just hit you. That doesn't mean you still want to do it, because the idea of you not being a homeowner scares you, because that landlord can raise prices on you. And you've never actually had that for, not never, but 20, 30 years or since they bought their home. So they're like, we're just uncomfortable right now. I said, great, take some time to digest it. It's been 3 seconds. You ready? Yeah, I'll do jokes like that. But they said, okay, we are uncomfortable with that. I said, I get it. Okay. But let's run some different scenarios. So I showed them, what if they did downsize? What if they did rent? What was the impact on their plan? And they went, this is significant. Some of these changes here, like I did not consider this factor. And I said, don't rent forever. You're going to feel better being a homeowner. I get it. In the same way, I'll explain to a client, hey, the financial analysis is night and day. You should absolutely not pay down your mortgage. You should pay the minimum because you're at 2.5%, invest the rest, get 8-10% growth on that. You'll do way better. But I want you to go pay off the mortgage. And you know what everyone goes? They go, thank God. I don't want to pay. I don't want to have a mortgage anymore. Can I please pay it off? I go, yeah, pay it off. You're going to sleep better. No one's ever thrown a party being up $100,000 in their portfolio. They do sleep better when they do not have a mortgage any longer. It's one less expense, one less thing to worry about. Does it make financial sense? No, not everything is about financial sense. So the couple here eventually rents, but not forever. They rent for about a year and then they go, hey, this was really great. I like being a homeowner. I said, great. But the condo that you just purchased was $200,000 fewer dollars because we got lucky when real estate prices were shifting. Don't credit me for that because that's not me. It could have been the other way. You could have been mad going, Ari, it's $200,000 more dollars. But the whole time, you know what the husband loved, who wasn't a big talker in our meetings because the wife was driving the finances? The husband was like, I like not fixing the roof. I like when that wash machine breaks, I just call that landlord, they come fix it. I've been fixing it for 20 years. And so they start to realize more things about themselves. And to me, that's the job of an advisor, is to ask good questions. So those are the 2 stories I wanted to share. I'll add my last financial medical story if you've not heard it. So I'm a soccer player. I love playing college soccer. Not college soccer. I did play college soccer. I love playing soccer to an unhealthy degree because I shouldn't play 5 times a week, but I don't care. I love it. Does that mean I'll play less in the future? Yes, but I'm an addict in a way. I love playing soccer. It's so fun. I'm out there. It's like chess for my brain. It's the only time I don't think about other things I should be doing differently. I'm sure you all have your escape. Some of you do drugs. No, don't do drugs. I'm just joking around. Okay, so I play soccer. Now, I've had a hip procedure done, a very serious one. I had a surgery. I'm okay, but I had it done. Now, what happened is I was having hip pain a few years later, but I kind of expected that would occur at some point. Scar tissue, different things. And then I flew from LA to Philly to see the same surgeon who I love. And the first 20 minutes I was there, I was talking about what surgery I'm going to do. And he's an awesome guy. He goes, I think we should go through the front of the hip because it's going to create less scar tissue because the last time I went through the back and yada, yada, and all this stuff. And I, pretended to pay attention. No, I paid attention. But what was special is I had my brother with me. And my brother said, hey, doc, because we're 20 minutes into talking about surgery. And my brother says, hey, I know we're going to schedule this and we're going to do this. And we flew from LA to Philly, even if I'm sure there's good doctors in LA, which will make the whole recovery easier. What would you do if we lived next door? That was my brother's question. He said, what would you do if we lived right next door? And he said, well, I'd probably do one more injection just to see if that calms it down enough because the nerves seem to be playing a role here, but I don't really know. And I kind of feel bad because I made you guys fly out from LA to Philly and I did the first procedure, but it didn't really work. And I said, hey, it worked. You did great. I messed it up because I played too much and that's my fault. And I recognize that. My brother said, hey, doc, you didn't answer my question. If we lived next door, what would you do? And he said, okay, I would do one more injection. And so then my brother and I looked at each other and said, hey, respectfully, doc, we love you, but this is our call now. At this point, you're recommending surgery because you think that's the fix. Is that correct? He goes, that's correct. I said, great. You, though, think that maybe this injection, what percentage of a chance does this have? He said, between 3 to 5% chance I get the injection and don't need surgery. We said, okay, well, then that's our call. And I want to try the injection. And if I have to fly back home to LA tomorrow because this doesn't work and then come back here a week later, I'll do that. It's on my dime. I have to do it. My brother could only ask that question. What would you do if we lived next door? Because he knew I had the financial means to pay for it. And I was willing to. I would get a loan if I had to go pay for surgery to play more soccer. So my brother asked the question. Doctor said, hey, let's try the injection. I didn't get surgery. So am I going to need it in the future? Probably, but this may have just delayed it 6 months or a year where now my body can recover because it had been months where I didn't get to play. I'm sad. I'm now not working out to the same degree. And now if I have to get surgery now, I get it. I'm like, hey, I just got a ticket for the last 6 months. It was awesome. So the point of the story is the value of a good question is everything. And so if your advisor is not going to you going, hey, Ari, if you're going to retire early, are you going to prioritize Roth conversions or healthcare subsidies? You should be going, they should ask me that. And then they should go, I have a better solution. Don't do the conversions. Don't do the subsidy. Spend more money. Retire earlier. I have so many people coming to me begging for help on a Roth conversion. And you know what I'll say instead? I said, you could do it, or you could retire earlier, or you could spend more money. Which would you rather do? And they're like, wait, I thought I was just doing Roth conversions to make my plan better. I go, there's a time when your assets are so significant, it doesn't make sense to not do Roth conversions. It's a no-brainer. You have to do them. Like, you're going to make way more money by doing it versus not doing it. There's other situations where it's kind of close and it's, should we do conversions? I want to do it. It sounds cool. But sometimes the easier solution is spend more money. Work less, retire earlier. There's questions that need to be asked by your advisor that will allow you to think differently about your retirement. That's what I pride myself and my advisors on here at Root. So hopefully this video was helpful, different story style to my traditional episodes, but want to pass along these thoughts. I'll see you guys next time. If you found, by the way, this video was helpful and you like these stories more than some of the case studies or different things, let me know in the comments below. See you guys.